Hello everybody and welcome back for some weekly VR news. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. So this week, we definitely have some interesting stuff going on. Of course, there's new announcements and games dropping, but there's also leaks, rumors, and even some fakes out there. So while it doesn't look like we're getting the Valve Prism, we might be getting a brand new Astrobot. Now there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by VR Rock, makers of prescription lens inserts for all of your favorite VR headsets. Quest 3 inserts are now available for purchase, and I'm extremely happy to announce that they've significantly dropped their pricing on this product. They magnetically connect for easy insertion and removal, so if you wear eyeglasses and struggle to fit them inside the VR headset, or you're concerned about scratching your lenses, go check out VR Rock down in the description, and don't forget to use discount code Mateo311 for 10% off and to help support my channel. Okay, so let's start things off like normal with the check-in, and that's what exactly have I been up to in the VR world. Well, I'm really happy to report that I've just finished playing through all of Stranger Things VR, and will have content up this week. If you're a fan of the show or just want to know more about this game, make sure to subscribe, turn notifications on, because I'm working really hard on this video. I think this is going to be a good one, guys. Additionally, finally get around to jumping into the Battle Royale version of Contractors, and I'll definitely be showing off some at a future date. Now, in terms of games dropping this week, it's actually looking pretty good. First up is Tigerblade. This is an arcade-style shooter that already released on the PlayStation VR 2, and later this week, questers will finally get to give it a try. Now, I did play through about half of this title on the PlayStation VR 2, and it's pretty much exactly what I expected. Fast-paced shooter action and a bumping soundtrack, but really not much more going on. Mechanically, the game is sound, as you need to quickly switch back between pistol and sword, block or dodge incoming attacks, and utilize objects around the world to either help defend yourself or take out multiple enemies in one shot. It's a good game, but it's yet another arcade-style shooter. If you're looking for a game with more depth, it's not this title. Now, if you prefer something with a horror theme or just want a unique experience, we have No Clip VR. This is your chance to get lost in the back rooms with a bunch of your friends, encounter some truly creepy monsters, solve some puzzles, and hopefully make it through the labyrinth of yellow-coated rooms filled with the ever-so-pleasant hum of fluorescent lights. This is definitely a bizarre and super creepy experience you could jump into with your friends, but if you prefer to take on the horror alone, we have Stranger Things VR. This highly anticipated game is based off the award-winning Netflix TV series. Instead of playing the heroes, you'll actually get to take on the role of Vecna and learn more about how he took over the Upside Down and what exactly was he up to during the previous seasons of Stranger Things when we didn't even know he existed. Now, as I previously stated, I'm going to do full coverage of this game later in the week, and as much as I'd love to spill all the details right now, I do have to wait for embargoes. Now, that was this week's list of short but sweet new releases. But let's go ahead and move into game updates and new announcements. If you're a fan of the stunningly beautiful action-adventure title Hubris, I'm happy to announce that some free DLC is already released for PlayStation VR 2 and Steam owners, and the Quest version should be available in the near future. This new update exists outside of the main campaign and adds a brand new combat arena. There's 3 separate difficulty levels if you're looking to challenge yourself, as you face up against increasingly more difficult waves of enemies. Now, to help level the playing field, you will be receiving weapon upgrades between the waves, so it looks like we have an exciting new gameplay mode to try out. I know the developers really wanted to improve the game's combat, as it was one of the overall weaker components, and since release we've seen significant improvements, which I'm sure the new combat arena will show off. Now, another great update comes to Quest 3 owners who have Arizona Sunshine 2. Previously, there were no real graphical differences between the Quest 2 and Quest 3 versions, but now they've made some significant updates. There's enhanced particle effects, improved textures throughout the game, Buddy the dog looks better than ever, and so do the enemy walkers, or should I say Freds. Obviously, it's still not PlayStation VR 2 or PC VR quality, but it's a significant improvement. And speaking of improvements, we're yet again getting more content for No Man's Sky. The Omega update kicked off with a free-to-play weekend, which unfortunately is just about ending at the time of making this video. The newest updates include a brand new starship, the reworking of the Atlas Path mission, brand new community expeditions, which includes a new storyline and diverse set of milestones to hit, and finally, you now have the ability to board defeated pirate ships, confront their captain, and then take the ship as your own. It's great every time we get a new update to No Man's Sky, because not only was this game the comeback kid of all time, but it also constantly releases something new and exciting. Now, speaking of new and exciting, we have a bunch of announcements to go over, but first, let's just get one of the bad ones out of the way, and that's Madison VR has been delayed. Now, this is not the first time the game has been delayed, but I'm all for it because too many games are released way too early these days. Now, what I'm less okay with though is the fact that every game on the PlayStation VR 2 seems to be horror themed, and Madison VR seems to be one of the scariest among them. It features a truly creepy story where a demonic force is compelling you to complete a gory ritual. Sadly, the most useful tool available to you is a Polaroid camera, which is used to reveal objects you can't normally see. Now, Madison VR already looks a little bit too spooky for me to play even on flat screen. I know I'm a bit of a coward sometimes, but VR and horror are tough for me to handle. Now, if this is your type of game, if you're pumped for it, I want to know down in the comments how much you like VR horror, or why you just like scaring the crap out of yourself. All right, let's move on. In less terrifying news, a brand new rhythm game, Beat the Beats, is coming to both the PlayStation VR 2 and PC VR. Mechanically, it reminds me of Supernatural VR, where you'll have to punch, block, and avoid different targets. Graphically though, the game doesn't look like much, and I'm not sure how well it'll do against big names in the category, like Beat Saber, Synth Riders, and even Pistol Whip. Now, there's no release date just yet, so we'll just wait and see what happens. We did, however, get the release date for The Pirate Queen, which is coming on March 7th. This is a narrative-driven adventure title featuring the voice of Lucy Liu. It's designed to be more of a cinematic experience rather than a game, and it's filled with historically accurate environments. So for those looking for deeper storytelling in VR, or maybe you happen to be a history buff, The Pirate Queen might be just the game you're looking for. And that right there covers all of our game information, but there's still plenty of stuff to talk about. It's a wacky time for VR. We have things like leaks, fakes, and really cool brand new announcements that came out of nowhere. So let's get the easier stuff out of the way. The Valve Prism is fake. I'm sure if you're in the know, you've heard about this thing. It's not a real headset. Some people were super excited. Someone basically mistook Valentine's Day for April Fools, made this announcement of the Valve Prism, and it looked professional, and it basically offered everything we're looking for. But there's no point to spend time talking about it because, like I said, it's fake. Now, moving into much more believable information and stories that have also been confirmed, it looks like we might be getting a new Astrobot. There's rumors circling around that, insider talk, and generally when that stuff happens, it's true. However, Sony has recently told us that we're not getting any AAA first-party IPs for the rest of 2024, which is a bummer news for the PlayStation 5, and we kind of are unsure of how it impacts the PlayStation VR 2. Now, Astrobot would be a first-party title, but maybe it's not in AAA category. Maybe it's just an outsider. It'll most likely be a hybrid game because the PlayStation 5 Astrobot's Playroom was just super successful. Everyone loved it. And people also loved Astrobot Rescue Mission. So obviously it makes sense that they want to cater to everyone, especially since, VR sales are not fantastic. So the likelihood that we could see an Astrobot this year, I think, is very possible based on what I'm hearing. But unfortunately, big PlayStation VR 2 first-party IP games probably won't happen, which is really sad. I hope that statement was just completely separate and PlayStation 5 only does not count for PlayStation VR 2. But we'll wait and see what happens. I'm not going to, keep saying bad stuff about the PlayStation VR 2. I told you guys what the numbers are, what it's looking like in a bunch of previous videos. And I said from this point on, I'm just going to wait and see what happens. So let's just move on to the next story, which is a brand new fitness-focused VR headset. Now, if you're familiar with a lot of public figures in the VR industry, you've most likely come across Six. Now, I'm not going to focus too much on Six himself. He's the type of character where people tend to love or hate him. He's very outspoken, but more importantly, he's been involved in VR and XR for years now, constantly working on different projects. There's Your, which is fitness tracking for when you're inside of games. And his latest thing that he's working on is a brand new headset, which will also include hand trackers. So you can utilize this while working out. It's designed to kind of just be able to count your reps, accurately understand, how many calories you're burning. It is a fitness focused VR headset. Now, I'm all for the idea. I worked out in VR constantly, but I do have some concerns, but it's way too early for the concerns to be valid. They're just like general concerns. Usually anytime I see someone going into the let's make a VR headset, industry, they don't realize that it's just so hard to scale. It's so hard to go from, concept to true product. And that time period takes really long. Now, Six, like I said, has been involved in VR for a long time. So logistically, he's probably in a good position to understand all the moving parts. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that. Additionally, it's going to be a niche product. So will it be worth the time, energy, investment that goes into it? because by the time this product gets produced, it's very possible that just regular VR headsets are just so much far ahead by now that you don't really need this niche workout in VR type of headset. But I'm also afraid we're going to see something similar to the other headset that people got excited for, the Lynx R1. People are super excited for that headset, but by the time it eventually came out, it's just old hardware. Everything else that's on the market right now is better than it, and the price was high, so it just didn't make sense. So I wish Six luck on this. I really want to see the finished product, the quality, how well it works. If it's viable for working out in VR, something I'm truly passionate about. I did that for a year straight with Supernatural. So yeah, this is exciting times. Really want to see what comes out of this. Again, I would have preferred to get the Valve Prism instead of the Virtual Eye, which is the VI or Virtual Eye, what the headset will be called. But we'll wait and see what happens. I'm excited in general. And that was today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will just leave you with this kiddo.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for my daddy.
Good job.
Bye.